So just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
1 2 1 2. Mic check. Just jumped into it because I'm late. My hair. Just jumped into it. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Let me hop on Facebook. Make sure I'm live. Holiday weekend. And I myself have the week off next week from work, but you know, work still remains for sure. Let me close out that window. I hope y'all are feeling well. I should have probably let some folks kind of come in, whatever, but we gonna get it cracking. I got some things to say. I don't know. I woke up like I want to talk about. I wrote an op-ed. I referenced the op-ed yesterday or the day before yesterday. Shout out to Jessica who helped me with like punctuation and grammar. Helped me edit on this side, and it actually was it was published by the Post and Courier. So I'm really happy that happened. And I got some thoughts off my chest that I, in a really concise manner. Sometimes I forget how much I really enjoy writing. I went to school for I went to school, and my degree is in English and political science. And but I wrote a lot in college, and I tried to write more out of college, but you know how the world is. Like, no, we want you to be a manager in retail instead of like really writing and leaning in. But anyway, so it felt really good to hop in there and start writing again and leveraging that platform. So all right, so I'm opening up Facebook so I can see what's going on. Good morning, yo. Good morning, Debbie. If you're watching on Facebook, good morning. All right, let's hop into it real quick. Let me change my view. All right, you know how it goes. Sometimes the temperature pops up here from Charleston weather, and sometimes it doesn't. But today, let's see if you guys are Friday. No, it's just still Thursday. Still Thursday. All right, that's okay, Jared. We get it. Gonna be a busy holiday weekend, but let's try to hook that up real quick. I want y'all to know what kind of weather we in for. Let's see what Google Chrome got for us. All right, here's Charleston's forecast. Currently 74. Yo, it's been like oppressively hot. I haven't even want to be outside. I haven't even like desired to be outside. Good morning, Meg. Good morning on Twitch. Yeah, mad hot. And so it looks like today is going to be another scorcher. Make sure you hydrate. Make sure you wear your sunscreen. You know what I mean? Okay, looks like what, high of like 90? 91. Tomorrow might rain. Yeah, holiday weekend though. That look good. You know how it go here in Charleston. Probably not even a whole washout. All right. Wanted to hop into the news too. Good morning, Jessica. No Bing today. No, I fixed it. Yo, that Bing, being trapped in Bing hell is the worst. Wow. This is a once segregated theater in Lawrence. Shines a new marquee, sign of new vision. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. I had some thoughts today. I teased out this video. Good morning, Letitia. I teased out this video. White folks. Let me just say this. White folks, y'all exhausting. This week I felt like I expended a lot of emotional labor outside of what I do, and I realized that. Good morning, D Bartlett on Twitch. And I realized that like the work I do is we make grants. The short way of saying what I do is I create grants with the reparations framework. I also lead a giving project that helps folks organize themselves to help resource grassroots work in North Carolina and South Carolina. So a lot of my work is in social justice, and a lot of my interests outside of work also involve social justice. So some of this is chosen, right? I acknowledge that, but there's an element of when you occupy these spaces. Good morning, Kia. There's an element of when you occupy these spaces, people only want to engage with you that way, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting because that's why like I am a sports fan, but that's why I'm telling y'all that I'm a sports fan. Is because I need you to see me as more than just this thing that speaks to the horrors that is white supremacy, that unpacks all of this really crazy nonsense and news and horrific things like the Sutherland murder at the hands of Charleston County sheriff's deputies. Like, a lot of that weighs on me, and I think folks just really are still struggling with let me not let nobody off the hook. Good morning, Jennifer Wicker on Facebook. Shout out to the new sub. Thank you for the subscription. One thing is just that, like, I think people just continue to see you as that, and I think white people do that more than anything else. Now, granted, I weigh into these waters again. I chose a lot of this, but I'm just acknowledging that I had a very exhausting week. And one thing that I always I never get is when you tell white people of privilege what you need. You tell them explicitly what you need. You tell them explicitly what you want, how you need to go. You show up as this thing every day, and yet there's still confusion about how there seems to be some kind of confusion about how to engage with me, and it's really weird and it's exhausting. So I wanted to kind of vent and just kind of talk about that. But let's just look at the news. I don't want to talk about old white supremacy that's being refurbished. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about, well, I do need to learn more about this. Y'all know that I live on Wamala, and I say that because I'm here, but family's on Wamala. That's my home. And so Johns Island has seen so much tremendous growth ever since, and like over the past year especially, but of course over the last 5 years, there's been so much growth on Johns Island. So pretty much the horse is out the barn. But I'm really invested in learning more about what's going on with the development and what folks are trying to do. And for like people who reached out to me about this issue, I'm not engaged. I'm not engaged in it at all. I'm reading about a lot of the things as well, so I'm not engaged. Definitely not supporting that thing that I think Willis is trying to spearhead. I don't know what that is, so I'm not supporting it. I kind of know what it is, but a lot of people ask me about Willis and her thing. I think she's going by Willis Quaponda now. I have no fucking clue. SC Highway Patrol stepping up enforcement. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is here. Well, Memorial Day weekend. All right, let's go ahead and hop over to the front page of today's Post and Courier. All right, today is Friday the 28th. High hopes for shrimping, of course. Tiny robots, of course. City waste tax on Johns Island. Okay. Here's more continued coverage about the whole food truck story. So this is interesting. This is in Somerville, though. Okay, this is Somerville. So town appetite for food truck fare may spur change in law. So what, Somerville wants the food trucks? That's interesting. I wonder if they're going to start pushing all food trucks to Somerville, like they're pushing all the people to Somerville, you know? How they're displacing people from Johns Island and Charleston, and folks are just moving to, and you know how North Charleston's being gentrified at a rapid rate. I wonder if they're just pushing everybody to Somerville. It feels like that's the plan. But I need to read the story to find out more, and I'm not doing that. All right. Let me keep going. I want to do a news roundup as well, kind of touch on some of these important stories. I want to head over to news 2, and let's see. Now this is interesting. This is the follow-up on the Jamal Sutherland case from the Palmetto Behavioral Health Center. So let's listen into this real quick.
A Lowcountry behavioral health facility cited as the investigation continues into the in-custody death of Jamal Sutherland. We've learned the Department of Health and Environmental Control conducted an audit of Palmetto Behavioral Health on May 20th. A complaint alleged the facility never reported the incident that led to Jamal Sutherland's arrest. According to the audit, North Charleston police were called to the facility on January 4th after Sutherland became violent. He was arrested and died the next day while in the custody of the Sheriff Al Cannon Detention Center.
Kia, you said regarding the food trucks, you said that Nexon will take all the food trucks. Tell me more. Tell me more. There was some other story that I wanted to tap in here. Let's go ahead and look at the law enforcement response to Memorial Day. Let's go ahead and see what's goody.
Memorial Day weekend is upon us, and that means a lot of drivers are hitting the road, traveling to and from Charleston. South Carolina State Highway Patrol is reminding drivers to be safe while out on the roads.
Hey, Meg on Facebook.
Kate Prestag joins us now live from the News 2 roof. And Kate, you had the chance to speak with troopers earlier today about the 100 deadly days of summer.
Lord.
Yeah, Sophia, the 100 deadly days of summer starts as
Her
Memorial
audio,
Day weekend and
when she goes on the
Labor
roof,
Day
it's
weekend.
not
Now,
good.
troopers tell me that essentially
Y'all
this
hear
initiative
that?
was started
Everything's
in an effort to
100%.
keep people safe after data showed traffic deaths spiking during that
Can't
same
hear
time
it.
span. Among the top tips.
I can't hear it. 100 deadly days of summer? Jeez. Jeez. All right, let's see. Let me see if there's anything else. Her audio, I just couldn't hear it. If I couldn't hear it and I got headphones in, I doubt you all can. Let me see. I think that's it. And then I had to queued up some stories over here from Live 5 News. Here we go. Let's check out this video. Let me hit mute real quick, and then I'm gonna hop into my op-ed from the Post and Courier. Okay, let's mute this. But this is Low Country Beaches prepare for Memorial Day crowds. I'm sure I'm gonna be over here by this pool over here at this apartment. Memorial Day weekend is here. City leaders at Folly Beach and the Isle of Palms are preparing for thousands of beachgoers. You know it's real.
Folly Beach mayor says the city is getting ready for tens of thousands of people to come onto the island. Danielle Seat joins us now from Folly Beach with what the mayor says they're doing to prepare and a couple of changes that you definitely want to know before you head out there. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Aisha. So Mayor Tim Goodwin tells me they're expecting a big crowd. This might be the emptiest you see the beach all weekend. He says that rental homes look like they're already booked out. And just to give you an idea of how many people they're expecting, he says that 25 to 30,000 cars came onto the island last weekend. Now, here's the biggest change to look out for here at Folly Beach. It's to their smoking laws. There is now no smoking allowed on the beach or at any of the beach accesses. As with previous years, alcohol is also not allowed on the beach, and fines for that could be up to $1,000.
I didn't know that. I don't drink, so.
Restrictions have been lifted, and although many businesses are excited tourists are back in town, Goodwin
I didn't know you couldn't bring alcohol on the beach. I guess that makes sense.
says it'll be all hands on deck for law enforcement.
Everybody's working, so it's like nobody's off. If you are an emergency responder, you're going to be working.
Great news clip. All right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna do a real quick look and see if there's any other things that I really want to share. There is an update. Shout out to Erica Coakley. Erica, you reached out to me after I hopped off my live stream yesterday regarding that mass shooting in North Charleston. Shout out to Taisha Aiken as well. I'm gonna try to get to you. I'm gonna maybe head to Facebook and see if I can look at your feed, Taisha. There were some stories that really caught my eye, but let me see if I could just hit this clip right here. Really tragic news, but I wanted to follow up the story that we kind of started the week with.
What if these were hit?
I'm gonna hit mute. But yeah, this is a ride and visual set for a 14-year-old mass shooting victim, and there might be some links to some more developing news that I want to click on. So we'll look out for that.
A North Charleston community will gather tonight to remember a teen killed in a mass shooting.
Okay, so that was last night.
Anjanae Smith was killed at an unauthorized concert last Saturday night in the area of Piggly Wiggly Drive and West Jimtown Drive. 14 other people were injured. North Charleston police have not made any arrests connected to the shooting. A community ride for Smith will start at 3725 Rivers Avenue. Cars and motorcycles will line up at 7 p.m. and the ride begins at 8 p.m. Tonight's vigil will happen after that ride at the location where she died.
That's so unfortunate. It's just so heartbreaking. And I wanted to see if there was a development. Okay, so no name suspect, but it feels as if the streets are talking. And I didn't get the whole truth. I didn't get the complete story about who was coming forth, but it sounds like the community was engaged, and the community is talking about the young people who were involved in the shooting. And so I'm waiting to get more news on that. I haven't really seen. Yeah, it says investigators believe more than one person responsible for the mass shooting. Just not getting enough news on that. Okay, let me look at some highlights here, some more additional highlights here from Live 5 News, see if it's something we want to click on. Labor shortage causes South Carolina businesses to cut back. Okay, that's sad. Okay, ongoing conversation probably inspired by the Jamal Sutherland developments there. Let me see. It's just really tough news. I gotta really figure out moving forward, y'all. I have to really figure out whether or not how I'm going to engage with the news, because a lot of this is really difficult to wade through. There's so much complexity in terms of race, in terms of how to navigate this culturally, how to navigate this just from an emotional standpoint. It's a lot to consume, and so maybe there might be some morning streams that are more issue based. As opposed to just news cycle dependent. I think that's what I'm really contending with. But let me go ahead and I'm going to look at my op-ed and see if we can find that. Here we go. So again, shout out Jessica for your help. Shout out Kia. I see you talking about the plans. I see you talking about it. So yeah, I shout out to everyone who's been sharing this story, who's been engaging with this. I really appreciate the great feedback from folks, people who actually cracked it open and read it. But I was compelled to write this over the weekend. Initially, I wanted to help my collective write an op-ed, but I kind of felt like it was weird. It was like a writer's block because we were contributing as a group to one piece, and I couldn't really find my footing in that space. And that's not to say that what was crafted wasn't superb. It really was. But I had, I guess, a very specific issue that I wanted to lift up, which is what we were seeing, which was the political angle behind how the Sutherland case was being politicized right in front of our eyes. And if you didn't know people, if you didn't know who, what, when, where, you weren't able to see what was going on. If you didn't know that, hey, Mark Pepper is this huge supporter of Al Cannon. He tried to help Al Cannon get reelected. He threw a series of parties at black owned establishments in efforts to marshal up black. Well, if you don't know all the things behind the scene about who's involved with the Jamal Sutherland case, then you wouldn't really be able to see the issue clearly, in my opinion. So one thing, again, I am never, ever going to throw on a cape for a member of law enforcement. That's not going to happen. But what I will do is be fair, right? And what we saw was the GOP was definitely, when they engaged Nancy Mace, when you have a former GOP lobbyist calling for the resignation of Graziano, you knew what time it was instantly. So yeah, I don't think I think you can hold Graziano accountable. I think you can hold every institution that failed Jamal Sutherland accountable without scapegoating one, and especially without the partisan scapegoating that we're seeing, right? So I'm just going to read a little bit of it. So local activists have been calling for justice and the release of more information since January regarding the tragic death of Jamal Sutherland at the Al Cannon Detention Center. But only recently have notable elected officials decided to weigh in. The emphasis is on way. These heavy-handed attempts to control the narrative have garnered the attention of both local and national media, as highly visible figures have attempted to narrow an issue as broad as the chasm of disparity that created the conditions that ultimately ended Mr. Sutherland's life. North Charleston Mayor Keith Summey, U.S. Rep. Nancy Mace, and an assortment of GOP operatives have made a concerted effort to heap the blame for Mr. Sutherland's death on newly elected Sheriff Kristen Graziano, leading to a singular erroneous demand to fire Graziano. This attempt to politicize the senseless death of a man who was in clear need of medical attention while in the grips of an acute mental health crisis is stomach-churning. The oversimplification of a complex systemic problem not only awards Sheriff Graziano's detractors with a prime political opportunity to recapture a seat lost in the last election, it also causes significant harm by shifting the public's focus away from the system and its many failures. And I'm going to stop it right right there. And I think that's the most important thing, is that, look, we get it. So not only is it like, we get it politically, it's unsavory, right? But it's actually causing harm, because Jamal Sutherland's issue is a mental health issue. Jamal Sutherland's issue is an abolitionist issue. Like, this is bigger than just your political ambitions. And I go on again, I just want to reiterate, I go on to reference the reporting from Angie Jackson back in 2019. I go on to reference that story. We know at least 153 people throughout the state of South Carolina have lost their lives while in custody of a county jail. So we have an epidemic here that transcends partisan ambitions, that transcends what folks want to, how folks want to run and grapple for power. And I think we need to make sure we lift that up. So again, thank you for those who helped. Thank you for the feedback on the commentary I provided. I'm just gonna let you know, like, what you can do to help me out. Continue to share this commentary. Share it with whomever in your circle. Share it like you would share anything else. Thank you so much, Kia. I appreciate you. All right, I appreciate you. I'm gonna head over to Twitter. Right. Shout out to Caitlin Bird. We didn't get into this, but Caitlin Bird, let me see if I can find it though. Caitlin Bird did a story featuring Faden Santana for the state, and just talking about his political, his burgeoning political career, talking about where, maybe a retrospect, like getting you caught up on what's going on with Faden Santana. I know Faden has been more active. Faden has been at a lot of these events that I've been around. He's been there in the background, sometimes asked to be there. And so you're seeing the beginning of something really important happening around Faden Santana. And I know Caitlin, let me see if it's on YouTube. I feel like there was a YouTube story. I might be wrong. I thought I saw a notification regarding the Faden story. I might be wrong. Let me see. 3 weeks ago. No. Oh wow, what's this? Hold up real quick. We're gonna hop into this. Hold on, I'm just taking a little quick look, a little perusing. Okay, let's go to, wait, again, what is this?
I refer to her as Angel because that's what she is. My daughter does suffer from a mental...
It says her 10-year-old was handcuffed by a police officer. Mother of special needs student speaks out.
Illness. My daughter also is borderline intellectually disabled. She only has an IQ of a 72. She is a 10-year-old, but her thinking process is not of a 10-year-old.
So this is, you see prominent Columbia activists here. I also see I Am Every Black Girl. I want to think that that's Vivian Anderson's nonprofit. Vivian Anderson is an amazing leader in the Midlands area, throughout the country with Every Black Girl. I'm going to head to her IG feed in a second to see. I actually did not know about this story, and this is a 6-day-old story.
She's functioning like a 5 or 6-year-old. There were certain situations that happened on the bus that I won't go into detail about.
What's up, Rajon? Good morning.
These certain situations, my daughter did not know how to cope. I would like to address that there was an aide on the bus that was CPI trained. Upon my daughter getting off the bus, her special educational teacher was there. My daughter one-on-one aide in the classroom was there. Hope Verano was there. Multiple faculty and staff was there that are CPI trained, and half of them are part of my daughter IEP team. My daughter has a behavior intervention plan in place as well as a crisis plan. None of those plans was implemented that day.
Wow. Okay, let me head over to Vivian's Instagram and see if Vivian has some at least a post. No, get out of here. At least a post on that story. Anyone who knows about it, you can chime in the chat. That is sad. Let's see. I don't think so. Y'all make sure you follow. Here's the post on it. Make sure you follow Every Black Girl. So it says in Lexington, South Carolina. So let me blow it up a little bit. Okay. All right. Oop. My bad. Okay. In Lexington, South Carolina, a 10-year-old Black girl, Angel, experienced a mental health crisis and was handcuffed and detained by 6 officers. It is never okay to inflict this sort of trauma on Black girls, especially when they need support and care. At Every Black Girl, we believe that in order to create a world where every Black girl thrives, we must make sure that everyone around her is also thriving. That starts with her family. These are the ways you can support Angel and her whole family. So they go on. And I did like the post, but I did not observe this detail. This is sad. This is very sad. 10-year-old Black girl, Angel, had mental health crisis at school and was placed in handcuffs. We're not learning. We're not learning. So head over to Every Black Girl on Instagram. Again, Vivian does amazing work, very amazing work, and this is really sad. There's a Cash App here. There's also some other contact information. I don't support Black Lives Matter South Carolina, but I don't know if that's the family's wishes. I don't know if that's still run by the gentleman I don't know if it's still run by that gentleman, but I would just go ahead and support the family. Black Lives Matter South Carolina to me is still something I don't feel comfortable sending people to. Nathaniel, I'm not quite sure on Nathaniel's leadership. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, support Every Black Girl here. Again, Vivian does a lot of tremendous work. You'll see. The funny thing is, like, her fingerprints are on a lot of things that you might see nationally, but you don't know it's Vivian. You don't know it actually is work that's being done from South Carolina on behalf of Black girls who are not just over policed, not just that are abused and mistreated by law enforcement, but there's a larger conversation about the adultification of Black girls. There's a larger conversation about how Black girls are seen as adults and not afforded certain rights and liberties because of how Black girls are treated. And I started off this live stream a little janky about like how I was exhausted by white women specifically and whiteness in general. And part of it is like how Black girls and black women are really, like, the expectation is really, I can't say it often enough. And I know I sound redundant and I know I sound like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but I'm telling you, the more I talk, sometimes it feels like the less people understand, the more people get wrapped around the axle of white supremacy and start falling all over themselves instead of knowing when to move forward. And certain things just really started to piss me off, including this story right here. So again, I hit like on it and didn't even register. Y'all know how that is. I got to be more mindful of how I engage with topics for sure. But yeah, that's super sad. Let me head back over to Twitter. Again, Caitlin Bird's feed. Make sure you check in with that and check out this. If you can, use your library card. A lot of the stories from the state are behind a paywall. Use your library card to access this story. Caitlin Bird also wrote a story on. She did a follow-up, I think, on the Jamal Sutherland case that I read this morning real quick. But it's kind of restating some of the facts that we already know. So I'm going to leave that there. Something else kind of got under my skin this week, and I debated even bringing it up. I debated bringing it up because I'm like, that's just your personal BS, Mika. That's your personal stuff. And it was this I Am Omar piece, right? And I just want to say, let me see if I can pop this out. I just want to say, shout out to the homie Gavin right here. You see, this is the homie Gavin. Gavin and I were in an Indie Grits fellowship together at one point. Also, like, I'm gonna point with my finger. I purchased some of Gavin's art. Gavin is an exceptional photojournalist, right? Gavin, I just want to say this again. Gavin is an exceptional photojournalist. I'm gonna say it one more time. Gavin, this black man in the middle, is an exceptional photojournalist. His talents, amazing. I'm glad that he's in this state. I'm glad that he's in this region, and he's using his photos are helping tell such a rich story of blackness here in South Carolina. Okay. taking Gavin out this right now. I'm really tired. So like I titled this live stream, like I'm really exhausted by whiteness this week. I feel like the more you share with people about social justice and how the basic requirement I have of white people in my life is that you forfeit privilege, right? You don't treat me as some sort of like garbage can to work out all of your racism. Don't come to me for absolution. Don't come to me to perform all this emotional labor to help you work out all your janky thoughts around white supremacy. That's not what I'm here for, right? How you should be engaging with Black people in general, but specifically with me, is that not just so much you pour into me, but we can have a conversation. We can have some sort of relationship, limited or extensive, where we actually interact as human beings, right? Never forget that I'm Black, but there's always this thing of like, hey, I need you to come and help me fix this, and I don't know what to do with that. And then the other side is that I see white folks assuming positions, and I see white people asserting themselves in stories, asserting themselves in causes where they should not be leading, where they need to listen more. And I think in both instances, the listening part is something that's missing. The really sitting with and listening and internalizing what's being said to you directly, how you're asked to show up for Black people. I think the listening part is what I'm not seeing. And so y'all know how I feel about Jennifer Berry Hawes. I think she's an exceptional writer. She won a Pulitzer, of course, right? Well, that doesn't mean anything, right? It means a lot, but like white supremacy will reward what it wants to reward, right? All these institutions aren't necessarily designed to really, I think to really recognize everyone's work fairly. Let's just say that. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you this woman wasn't a gifted writer. I think she's extraordinarily gifted. I think she's talented. I also think that Jennifer Berry Hawes and many of her peers, luxuriate in the horrors of Black death all too often, and also Black atrocity. And I think that this is something that really pisses me off. So I got a notification. I'm a Post & Courier subscriber, and so I got a notification that they were doing some programming. It was ticketed. I did not buy a ticket or subscribe to get a ticket. I don't know if it was free or not, but I didn't click the link to get the ticket. But they held this event, Beyond the Headlines, Finding Omar, and I don't want to disrespect my friend in the middle and Gavin, because again I think he's an exceptional person. But to me, this seems like a deliberate a covering of the ass. I think Mitch, y'all know how I feel about Mitch and his editorial decision making, and Jennifer in terms of her really occupying a space that I think a Black writer or writer of color should occupy. I think putting Gavin in this story or incorporating him, I'm glad that he got the experience to go to Senegal. I'm glad that he got the experience to use his talents to add to this story. I think I think they should keep doing this. I think they should continue to focus on finding capable Black journalists to feature. But I don't know why Jennifer Berry Hawes is leading on this project. And I don't know if anyone if anyone cares. I don't know if anyone cares in the chat. I don't know if anyone is bothered by this. But this is something that has plagued me here in Charleston so often, is that when we could enlist the voices of Black people, Black creatives, Black leadership, we just don't. We don't do it in something that is backed by the Pulitzer Center, something that has the backing of the Pulitzer Center, something as audacious as this exercise. And again, it just continues to explore Blackness from the white perspective. And I don't know why we can't get parity. I don't know why we cannot get more competent Black voices and voices of color to tell these stories. I just don't understand. Now, granted, too, I understand that Gavin and Jennifer weren't the only people who helped with this story. And I'm going to click on it right now. And of course, it's beautiful. Look at this. And I think, to me, it feels like you just threw Gavin in there. You just threw Gavin in there to cover your butt, to make it say, okay, well, we had somebody Black involved with this, right? And shout out to Gavin. I hope you get all the awards, journalism awards, and everything for your photography and your video. But when it comes to telling these stories, I'm tired of seeing white folks tell these stories. And so, like, again, I teased out this live stream. It's like, when are white folks going to learn how to step up when we need you to step up? When it comes to forfeiting privilege, when it comes to you actually for you to literally like forfeit privilege and like to give your wealth, give your privilege, gift it to someone else, use it, leverage it to really open up doors for others. Why aren't we seeing that? Why do we constantly in Charleston, why are we okay with white folks playing this paternalistic role over Black culture and Black narratives, right? Kia, you wrote in Twitch, I realized that many white people in the workplace don't like listening to Black people in general. They really don't. And someone put a funny like TikTok out like a month ago about how white women like are very vocal about how men mansplaining and how men cut them off at work and all that. But white women do that to Black women all day at work. Like they do it all the time. They don't listen. And I just like, I'm very, very bothered by it. It's really, and I'm noticing how it's really causing stress on my body. And I'm just gonna have to erect those boundaries again. But yeah, this is all. I'm gonna read this from top to bottom because you know, last year before coronavirus came to town and devastated Spoleto, I was interested in the opera. I was interested in Omar's story ever since I learned about it through other avenues on PBS and whatnot. And actually, let's do that because this is the Charleston story, y'all. Let's do that right now. This is the Charleston story. So let me do PBS, Omar, Muslim. Went to Africa and everything.
A one-of-a-kind manuscript written by a slave.
And I shared this on Instagram whenever this came out.
Has now been preserved in the Library of Congress. The Arabic language autobiography spent decades in private collections before the library acquired it in 2017. Now it has been digitized for the world to read. And Amna Nawaz reports on the manuscript's remarkable journey for our ongoing arts and culture series, Canvas.
Born and raised in West Africa, Omar Ibn Said was 37 years old
when
he
was kidnapped
and taken to America as a slave in the 1800s.
Before I came to the Christian country, my religion was the religion of Muhammad.
His autobiography in his native language of Arabic is believed to be the only one of its kind, the original words of a Muslim American slave.
Then there came to our place a large army who killed many men and took me and brought me to the Great Sea.
His literacy and culture completely goes against, abolishes, one might say, annihilates the narrative that slaves were not capable of culture. In fact, they were persons with distinct histories.
Absolutely. Fully formed people, fully formed humans, Muslims.
Allah Al-Rais has studied and translated the words of Omar Ibn Said.
They sold me into the hands of the Christians, who bound me and sent me on board a great ship. And we sailed upon the Great Sea a month and a half when we came to a place called Charleston.
He was wealthy and he was highly educated because in his autobiography he speaks about spending 25 years studying.
Mary Jane Deeb is the chief of the African and Middle East Division at the Library of Congress, where Ibn Said's manuscript now lives.
So there was a man who was caught at the age of 37, and shipped off to South Carolina, in a country he doesn't know, among people whose language he doesn't know.
Ibn Said wrote he was sold to a, quote, small, weak, and wicked man called Johnson. After years of abuse, he fled, but was caught in North Carolina.
He is then captured and brought to a jail cell, and he begins to write on the walls of his jail cell in Arabic.
Wow.
So that attracted attention of pretty important people, because the man who ends up buying him and releasing him from jail was the brother of the governor of North Carolina.
Over time, Ibn Said converted to Christianity. In his 60s, he wrote his own story, but only in Arabic.
It's written in Arabic, and so his masters could not really read it at all. They could not really influence its writing. And so
How
it was
subversive.
really his exact words, unfiltered by the machinery of the editorship of masters and abolitionists as other slave narratives.
Okay, like listen to this. This is incredible. But I want you to hear that part real quick. I want to rewind that part.
His exact words, unfiltered by
to Christianity. In his 60s, he wrote his own story, but only in Arabic.
It's written in Arabic, and so his masters could not really read it at all. They could not really influence its writing.
He wrote it in Arabic, and he wrote it in Arabic, y'all. He wrote it because, yes, that's his language. That's what was native to him. But also think about that. You write it in the language, and so that it hides. It's free from white judgment. It's free from censorship. It's free from white editing. Right. It's free from the surveillance of white supremacy through your slave masters. Right. Your enslavers. Think about that. So think about that being a fundamental piece of this, a fundamental component of this man's story, and then think about how white people feel entitled to cover this, and white people feel entitled to tell this story, especially here in Charleston, where we have plenty of black storytellers. We have plenty of capable black storytellers. Like, you literally could enlist, Post and Curry literally could have enlisted someone from academia who is well-versed in this type of history, right? And someone black, and you could have just provided them with a bevy of editors to help them craft this narrative. But you chose to have a white woman. This is a key component that this man, he retreated to the confines of his native language and his culture and his religion to avoid the oversight of this white supremacist enslavers. And yet, like, we can't even like create that. Does that make sense? That we can't even create those moments. We can't even acknowledge that. Like, and we want to, but white folks feel entitled to. And this one white storyteller that I'm talking about, Jennifer with the Post and Courier, like, you continuously write these stories and you write these books and you keep doing this. And to me, it's painful. It's painful to keep seeing this white woman continuously write these stories. I don't know.
Writing. And so it was really his exact words, unfiltered by the machinery of the editorship of masters and abolitionists, as other slave narratives were.
A machinery, Al-Rayas says, erased countless narratives, including the fact that up to 20% of Africans enslaved in America were Muslim. Ibn
Thank you for the Library of Congress
to open his
link.
Autobiography with a verse from the Quran.
The crux of this Quranic chapter is that it's only God who has the possession and the ownership, both of human beings and of things. And therefore, it seems to me a kind of a hidden text. What Omar is saying is that you guys have no right to own me here.
It's a narrative that challenges.
Hidden text, you guys have no right to own me here. And who feels entitled to that? Who feels, now I get it. Like, y'all, I'm seeing, other people, like, of course, the Library of Congress, right, and other folks are engaging with this work. But you know what I'm talking about here in Charleston, specifically here in Charleston. You're gonna create programming through Spoleto here in Charleston that's talking about the slave story, and you don't even do the due diligence. You don't even you haven't heard, and maybe because I don't know who else is not saying or who else is saying it, but when it comes to here in Charleston and telling these stories, why can't we get someone else to tell this story? And why can't we push them to be brave and to be bold in this, in the telling of this story? Seriously. Like, just because you take a black photojournalist who's dope, just because you take a black photojournalist along with you just to kind of cover your ass, say, oh, well, we have somebody black involved. Just because you take a black photojournalist over to Senegal to create this beautiful piece doesn't mean that you should be telling this story. That's not enough. And like, in a world where we're seeing the 1619 Project and you see the principal voices engaged, and not all black, but you see the majority of the voices engaged to write the 1619 Project were black people, were people from the African diaspora. And yet here we are in Charleston, you can't even get a couple of black people when we got tons of black academics, tons of black scholars, archivists, historians that live in this state. And it's a lot of them, y'all, who teach at Clemson, who teach at HBCUs, SC State and all that. Like, they're out here, but no, we're going to go and have this person luxuriate in the horrors of black enslavement. I just can't, I don't know, it gets under my goddamn skin. I just can't take it.
The original concept of who the slaves were when they came here. They didn't really have a system of belief. They were uncultured, they didn't have a written system. This is what he brings to the table and basically says that is who we really are.
She never bows
Before
out.
those pages written by Omar ibn Said could be shared with the rest of the world, conservators here at the Library of Congress worked for months behind the scenes to bring those pages back to life.
We're trying to...
Okay, so I'm going to hop out and just go back to the piece. Jessica, you said, why didn't she bow out? She never bows out. I don't know. I mean, let me not say never. But, like, yeah, this story was supported by the Pulitzer Center. And so go back to, okay, so also, right? So this is when I started, I had a conversation with Adam. Well, I tried to have a conversation with Adam Parker one time. It was really just him filibustering on the phone. Let's see. Parker, Spoleto. So they got the backing of the Pulitzer Center to help with that story, right? They pitched that, right? They have those resources. So not that they didn't say, you know what, we're gonna pitch this to the Pulitzer Center, see if we can get their backing, and then let's go ahead and cast a net. Even if it's a limited engagement, but you find the right black scholars, you find the right black journalists to help you you engage them, even if it's for a limited time. You engage these black storytellers, these black journalists. To help craft the story. You didn't do that. You just said, okay, let's just go. Okay, let's just get Jennifer again. Okay, she, you know, like I still will never forget that she wrote that book on Mother Emanuel. She prefaced it in one of the stories by saying, she justified it by saying that her child went to school across the street from Mother Emanuel, so she had already forged a connection with that church, and so she felt compelled to write about it. What? Get the fuck out of here! Wait, hold up. What? You felt like you felt that your daughter or your child, right? I don't know if it was daughter. Your child going to school close to where a white supremacist massacre took place, and that gave you the license to write about black death and atrocity. And yet what I'm really waiting for is the Jennifer Berry Hawes story on rooting out white supremacy that exists. I'm waiting for her to write about the white folk who create these atrocities, who perpetuate these atrocities. I'm waiting for that. Not a romanticized story, but a deep dive on how the fuck does this happen? Why does this keep happening? Why are we still continuing with militias and Ku Klux Klan and the reimagination of a Ku Klux Klan? Like, why are we? I'm waiting for that piece. No, you want to sit over here and talk about the horrific trials and tribulations of an enslaved Muslim. I just don't understand, like, why do you feel entitled to these spaces? I just don't. All right, hold on. I'm gonna stop. I know y'all. Y'all like, yo, we come here for this, that, and the third. This is what I want to do. Let me see if I can find it. It's Post and Courier, because the same thing goes with Adam Parker. Adam Parker writes about all things Black history in South Carolina, and there's never ever. Hold on. There's never, ever like this thing. Well, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't write this story. It doesn't feel like that. Adam Parker, a ring. I forgot what it is. Oh, Syracuse. And then I'm gonna let y'all live and let y'all have a great Memorial Day weekend. Cause I'm trying to find it. Spoleto. Did they take it off? Cause I'm like, y'all, when you do get the resources from these amazing, when you do get the resources from these amazing institutions, I can't find it. You don't make a concerted effort. You don't make a concerted effort to recruit people of color, students of color, storytellers of color. I think this is it. Oh God, yeah. Real quick, y'all. Y'all just bear with me. Bear with your girl. So every year, the Post and Courier enlists the help of the Syracuse University's Gold Ring students. So Gold Ring is a Gold Ring Arts Journalism program. So they get these students to come down here and they cover Spoleto from top to bottom. They create video, they create a lot of written pieces. The students cover it. What you'll see is that the students are they're non-blacks. They're white and Asian and like Latinx maybe, but they're predominantly white. And this is from 2014, but this practice, I actually got to engage with one of the artists when I worked with Benny Starr, when he was at when he was the first hip hop artist to perform at the finale. That process, I got to see behind the scenes, these Gold Ring journalists come and cover the story. Shout out to Mike that worked on that story. He did a great job, and Mike was with it. Like he got it. But I'm like, why couldn't the Post and Courier just like try to find black, like why Syracuse University? I know they have this amazing journalism program, but why not lift up journalism programs from here, from HBCUs? And if not here, from Howard's journalism, why not have like a number of schools that you enlist to tell these stories, to ensure diversity? This is how, look, that's Adam Parker. This is how black folks stay out of rooms for generations. When we're not even given a chance to go and to be seen as cogent storytellers, when we're not even afforded an opportunity, we're not in these rooms. We're not in these rooms to even get the experience as a fledgling journalist, as a someone who recently graduated from whatever institution. We're never in these rooms. And this is how these newsrooms continue to stay white. You don't open the doors to more black journalistic voices. And I don't understand why, like, I just don't understand in Charleston why we're still arguing for this. I know I'm losing some of y'all on this, but
it begins. So several years ago, the Post and Courier and Syracuse University, the Gold Ring program and the Newhouse School, forged a relationship. The Gold Ring students finished their one-year program, their master's program, here in Charleston with a capstone project flooding the field and covering all things Spoleto and Piccolo Spoleto. And the Post and Courier benefits because we get this temporary staff of talented writers and reporters who help us cover a festival very extensively.
Yes.
The festival offers a full range.
Shout out to that, Jonick James. Clark Atlanta has, thank you. Someone else brought that up to me in a private conversation about that. Like, there are so many amazing schools, and even if they're not HBCUs, amazing schools that are diverse, right? Like the school I went to, my undergrad school in Jersey City, like African Americans, I think we were in the minority. Like, it was more people from Africa, from the Philippines, from a bunch of different countries, and Haiti, and Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, there was so many, Indonesia, India. Like, I was in the minority, but it was a good, it was like, okay, I'm in Jersey City, so the city still got its black element, but I was like in this huge ass, that's this world, just, I don't even want to use the word melting pot because that usually means something real problematic. But like, I was just in this beautiful, I was immersed in all these different sounds, these accents, these flavors. And I'm like, so you can find institutions that are in places like that offer you diversity so the room doesn't stay predominantly non-black. Like, seriously, to tell these stories. I don't get it. So when you create this opportunity with Syracuse to cover Spoleto, after a certain amount of years, why isn't there a concerted effort to recruit blacker voices or more voices of color?
Range of performing arts, opera, chamber music, classical orchestra music, choral music, but also pop music and jazz and theater.
And we ain't gonna talk about how white Spoleto has been for years. Up until I think the last couple of years, they really got the memo like, yo, this is really white. We got to fix that. And so I really do think that this is just, I don't get it. Again, of course she can write. Of course she's good at it. Of course. But is she entitled to these spaces? And is it enough to just have one black photojournalist accompany you or join you in this endeavor? Is it enough to just have one black photojournalist accompany you in this effort? And I think that this was intentional. Just that I'm not going to impugn Gavin's integrity. I don't know what the decision making looked like behind the scenes, but it feels like, and I'm not saying it is, it feels like tokenism. It feels like tokenism. A quest for the true identity of Omar. Come on, like, it's just, girl, go somewhere. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm gonna continue to. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it and and really come to some conclusions about it. I don't think that's gonna change how I feel about them weighing into this subject matter. I don't think that's gonna change. Shout out to Gavin again. Hopefully I didn't piss you off, Gavin, if you are listening. Yeah. Does Matt Monday still live in Charleston? I don't know. I'm not in community with Matt Monday. Why'd you ask that, Kia? It's a constant revival. It's a constant revival of the Society for the Preservation of Spirituals. Yes, it is. Yes, Society of Professional. Come on, somebody reading books. Somebody doing their reading. Somebody reading Denmark VC's Garden. Charleston just never learns. It's paternalistic as hell. All right, so let me do my dismount. So y'all going this? It's a holiday weekend. I got a lot of work to do today to head into my weekend without any worries. I'm super excited to be finishing up or kind of coming to a conclusion with some other projects outside of my 9 to 5. I think me being in this creative space of creating content that is so important and so that features the voices of so many amazing indigenous and Black indigenous and Latinx and just amazing voices. It's an environmental justice podcast that I'm wrapping up, and these interviews I've been holding have been just tremendous, have been amazing, and I think it's because I'm in this creative space that it really makes me sensitive to Black expression or just any type of artistic expression where I don't see myself reflected in. And so I'm making the appeal to you here before Memorial Day to just be cognizant of that, to question that. Don't let me be out here on a limb. Don't have me up here on a limb asking these questions. I think I definitely retweeted when they shared the piece about Omar. I'm like, well, why aren't Black people telling these stories? But yeah, I need white people to kind of this is where we need white people to step up and use their voices. You should be questioning this. You should be, if you're in an all-white room, you should be asking, why isn't there more representation? Why aren't there more diverse voices in these rooms? And I know it's hard in Charleston. I know it's really hard, but that's the point. That's the work. That's the work. If I can say that from where I stand, and if I can do that, and I've risked some things. I'm not saying I made this huge sacrifice, but I've risked opportunities. I've been hired and let go like that for no reason other than, I'm a bridge burner. But if I can go out on the limb and make these assertions, we're gonna need white folks to start forfeiting their comfort. We're gonna need white folks to start transferring their resources and using their voice to speak up when these disparities present themselves. And there's ways that white people can do that when they're in. Like, that's the thing. Like, we don't need you always to perform some sort of front-facing action where we see a black square. Your commitment to diversity is on Facebook or Instagram. We really just need you to be fucking up that room of white people that you in. We really need you to be fucking up that room that you in with all those white investors, all those white money men, all those decision makers and influencers. We need you to be checking them and collecting other white folk, right? We don't need to see it. You don't need to show me proof, but we need you to be busy and guarantee that word will get back. word will get back. I need white folks to like step up when it comes to their institutions. You need to be disruptors within your institutions. You need to be, muckrakers and gadflies within your own institutions, more so than anything. And somebody should be speaking up like, hey, why don't we have more, representation here? Why don't we have more this, that, that, third? I can just go on and say the same thing over and over again. But yeah, I just really want people to really just, white folks to really, like, that's where we need you to speak up, is when you're in this room. If you're in this room and Adam Parker is rubbing his hands together and excited about this journalism project that he's about to launch, and you look around and there's no black journalists in the room, we need you to say something and demonstrate courage in that instance and disrupt that room, if that makes sense. Don't ask me for a cup of coffee to work through your white supremacy. No. I'm not here to expend that type of emotional labor. And I don't know every black issue. I don't know what's going on in every black area. I know I read the paper every day. I know I watch the news more than probably the average person. I don't know every black story. So don't, and also check in with black people before you do that. Is it okay if I ask you this question? Is it okay? Do you have capacity to talk about this issue? Those are things you need to start doing. Please do that. Because as I enter into this vacation week, best believe radical rest is at the top of the agenda. Even with the work I have to do for other projects, it's fun work. Radical rest is on the agenda. So I'll let y'all know if I'm going to do any type of live streams during the week next week. I don't know. Watch it be like breaking news that I feel compelled. If it's something breaking, I definitely will. But I really do want to practice some radical rest next week. And I just also want to say this. I know I'm popping off and trying to collect white people, which I don't like to do, which is exhausting as hell. I would like to say this. Thank you to so many people, new Patreon subscribers, people who've edited their Patreon amount. There's been more than a few. Thank you to Jared. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Justin. I feel like this is Romper Room. That's an old reference that none of y'all gonna get. But a shout out to everyone who's just poured into me and poured into this platform. Shout out to Julie Hussey. Shout out to just amazing people who really have said, you know what, I believe in your voice. I'm here. I got you. I got your back, right? I don't have to pull teeth. You guys see it. You see what it can be. And that's something that I have not experienced in Charleston probably ever until I really started to really push. And I want to say thank you. And it's not so much about my voice. I really do want to make this a collaborative effort. I really want to make this platform something that is crowdsourced and that's a group effort, that where you can weigh in the chat and chime in and give your perspective. That's what we did with the Chris Kalin interview. That was like the most fun I had this week. Is Kia in there talking about what used to be? Is Amethyst in the comment section talking about what used to be? And so that's what I want to do, is create a platform where it's not just my voice. But yeah, I'm complaining, but I'm also trying to be part of the solution. I'm trying to create a solution, if that makes any sense. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Seriously, like I really do. I really wish. I'm trying to get my shit together. I'm trying to get some merch together, and to show my appreciation to so many people who've just poured into this platform on Patreon, who poured into this platform, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. I'm trying to show recognition, but I really do believe without the support of people, I would have stopped again. Because my life here in Charleston has been a bunch of starts and stops, but I would have stopped again had I not gotten some indication that what I'm saying is breaking through to somebody. But yeah, please keep up the fight. Please keep the Sutherland family in your heart this weekend too. Know that it's not Christmas, it's not things taken, it's not one of those big holidays, right? But it's a holiday weekend where this family doesn't have their loved one, and it's a big start of the Black holiday season of cookouts and fun and communal fun and dancing and electric slides and Beyonce before I let go. It's the start of a lot of things where Black people really show out. As Juneteenth is around the corner and this family doesn't have a loved one there, to celebrate some of this stuff with them. So keep the Sutherland family in your heart. Keep all the families of all the names of people I've been rattling off. Keep them in your head and your heart. There's a lot going on right now, but just think about some other people this weekend as you enjoy your holiday. All right? I appreciate y'all. Thank you for indulging me today. Today was a little off because I can't keep, Black Death is not And like I said, we might start doing some issue specific streams, where it's just about an issue that's not news cycle dependent. Like Evelyn, like human trafficking. So hopefully maybe, Evelyn, we can do that. We could do that. Talk about the local response to human trafficking, and how like the narrative. Evelyn, another outlet, I think ABC News 4 just covered it again, and I didn't even want to click on the video or whatever it was. But we gotta get this human trafficking thing straight, because there's a lot of nonsense being floated out there. So yeah. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Have a good weekend. I'm gonna be resting. I'm gonna be probably in Atlanta. I'm probably gonna be in Atlanta. Look at somebody. Thank you, new Patreon subscriber. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Bye.